Hello, Miss Crain. I'm the doctor. Exactly. Anyways, it is good of you to allow me to stop by your class and take your students on a wild adventure all through the interesting people involved in the age of expansion in Georgia. Are we ready? Great. Then 3, 2, 1, Geronimo. Why, hello there, class. My name is President Andrew Jackson. You may know me best by my policy regarding the Indian Removal Act of 1830, which was confusing to the Cherokees at the time because they had fought alongside of me in the Creek War. But it was greatly supported by many Georgians as population was growing and gold was being found all throughout Dahlonega. One person that was vocal in opposition to my policy was Chief Justice John Marshall, who said that this new law was unconstitutional. Well, I say that John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. I sent one of my trusted generals, Winfield Scott, to oversee the Treaty of New Echota, which ultimately led to the transfer of the Cherokees from Georgia to Oklahoma. Well, that was interesting. So President Jackson was no friend of the natives. The Trail of Tears was a difficult trek for the natives, taking them from their homes and land in northwest Georgia all the way to Oklahoma. Many young and old didn't survive. Now, didn't President Jackson mention John Marshall? I wonder what his take on this matter was. Here we go again. Hello, students. I'm Chief Justice John Marshall, and I served on the Supreme Court and presided over a monumental case with regard to the Indian Removal Act of 1830, known as Worcester versus Georgia. I will let Mr. Worcester speak more on his case, but I will tell you that I agreed with him. The United States and Georgia in particular had no authority in American Indian affairs and therefore could not determine Mr. Worcester as doing anything illegal by speaking out on the Cherokees' behalf. Frankly, Georgia should be ashamed of themselves for how they treated Worcester as well as the Cherokees themselves. I see there's clearly a difference of opinion with regards to this court case. Let's hear from the man in the center of it to get a better understanding. Samuel Worcester is his name, I believe. Bless you, Doctor. Yes, I was arrested by the state of Georgia because of my opposition to the Cherokee removal. Georgia had originally passed 5 laws restricting the authority of the Cherokees over their lands. Their lands? Anyway, one of the laws required all whites living in Cherokee Indian Territory, including missionaries and persons married to Cherokees, to obtain a license. After 7 of us refused to obtain these licenses, we were arrested and sentenced to 4 years of hard labor. I was originally appointed by the federal government as the postmaster to New Echota, the Cherokee capital. But the Georgia governor had my appointment revoked in order to subject me to arrest. I knew enough was enough, and I took my case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where I won. Not that it mattered in the end. Ooh, so sad, yet so interesting. Now, wasn't there another group of Native Americans involved during this time? Oh, yes, the Creek. Now, they were a rowdy bunch. Let's hear from a few of their chiefs. Let's start with Chief Alexander McGillivray. He speaks a different language, but as long as you're with me, the Tartars should be able to translate. Hello, people. I am Chief Alexander McGillivray. I was the chief of the Upper Creek, also known as the Red Sticks by you people because of our red-colored war clubs. The biggest influence of my people was the Creek War. This was after the Treaty of New York, where we agreed to give up all land east of the Oconee River, but maintain our land west of the river. Oftentimes these land treaties were ignored. We Red Sticks wanted to fight for our land, while the White Sticks wanted peace. This led to the Creek War. After the Red Sticks attacked Fort Mims, it was later called the Massacre at Fort Mims, which angered many white settlers in Georgia and led to the federal government taking most of our land, where the Red Sticks and the White Sticks went to battle over the Oconee River and pushing Americans out of our territory. The Creek War ended with the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, where the White Sticks were joined by now President Andrew Jackson and the Cherokee Indians. This led to our defeat. Wow, I wonder if our other Creek chief had the same experience. William McIntosh, what happened with the Treaty of Indian Springs? Well, hello there. It was I who decided after the Creek War to work with the U.S. government and give up the last of our land in Georgia. Through the Treaty of Indian Springs, this did not sit well with the rival tribe, and they came to my house as an angry mob, set fire to my home, shot at me multiple times, and finally stabbed and scalped me in accordance with Creek law for going against the way of the Creeks.